Hello and welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Omotayo Alo. Almost 6 months after he assumed the reins of office as Nigeria's leader, President Muhammad Buhari has formally inaugurated his cabinet. Swearing in the ministers at the presidential chamber, Buhari says his administration will diversify the economy by exploring and developing the agriculture and solid mineral sectors. According to the president, diversification will help guarantee food security of Nigerians. President Buhari also reiterates the government's preparedness to end the Boko Haram menace and decisively tackle the spate of kidnapping in the country.
With the inauguration of ministers, our government shall continue more decisively to implement its policies in respect of the economy and in other areas, while working hard to maximize the revenue from oil. In the face of a sharp decline in the price of the commodity, we are determined to diversify the economy in agriculture.
As promised to cut the size of his government, President Muhammad Buhari has reduced federal ministries from 42 to 24. This, according to him, will help keep the ministers manageable and check wastages. Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari on Tuesday approved the appointment of new permanent secretaries in the Federal Civil Service. This came some hours after the president sacked about 17 permanent secretaries. In a statement by spokesperson Femi Adesina, Buhari appointed the new permanent secretaries, deploying them to various ministries. The list include Ayotunde Adeshugba, Mohammed Issa Duse, Taiwo Abidogun, Bokazan, Wakama Belama, Asif Feka, Jalhal Ahmed Arabi, Sabiu Zakari, Obiageli Phillips, Wokedi, Aminu Nagbegu, Gbamboshe Olukunle Oladele, Alo Williams Nwakwo, Shehu Ahmed Ogbonaya, Innocent Kalu, Naratu Jimo Batagarawa, Kristen Chikyake Oha, Basi Akpang Yung, Lewis Dozien, Ugo Roy. The president, however, approved their deployment to the following ministries: and Shehu Ahmed, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development; Sunday Ekono, Federal Ministry of Communications; Shabiu Zakari, Federal Ministry of Transportation; Ayotunde Adeshugba, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Tuesday visited President Muhammad Buhari at the presidential villa. No media organization was, however, allowed to film the arrival and departure of the former president. The visit, which lasted for about 30 minutes, was described as private by security operatives. Some senators have described the process of selection of chairmen of committees and the constitution of additional committees as illegal and unconstitutional. Senator Kabiru Marafa raised the issue under Order 42, Rule 2 of the Senate rules, and urged the leadership of the Senate to reconstitute the committees and its chairmen in line with due process. Correspondent Basiaye reports that reference were made to disregard for seniority and legislative structure.
The row over the composition of committees brewing in the lower chamber may be seeping into the Senate. This follows a point of order raised by Senator Kabiru Marafa, who cited several sections of the 1999 Constitution and the Senate standing rules. In his submission, the actions of Senate President Bukola Saraki amount to impunity.
Mr. President, Section Order 97 1 to 7, just like Section 3.1 of the Constitution that spelled the number of states of the Federation under the local governments in the Federation. And nobody can increase or add any additional state in the Federation without recourse to the Constitution. So also, our order spelled the number of standing committees and special committees that this Senate can have. And it is fixed from Order 97-1 to 57. Mr. President, attempting to create additional committees without recourse to this House amount to placing the cart before the horse. And my fear is one day we will have a president that will equally increase the number of states of the local government and write the Senate for confirmation.
Marafa, who refused to outrightly reject his selection as chairman of the Committee on National Identity and Population Commission, spoke against turning the Senate to a rubber stamp gathering. His case was supported by his colleague from Kaduna North, Suleiman Hunkuli, who sought further clarification but was referred to the rule book by the Senate President.
I wish to be guided by referring to the same committee on which authenticity is questioned. Mr. President, I don't seem to understand.
Distinguished, you've asked to be guided. Let me guide you. The rules are very self-explanatory and well-guided. So unfortunately, I have to rule you out of order on that.
The points raised were in the end noted and forwarded to the Senate Selection Committee. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Senate on Tuesday adjourned plenary as a mark of honor for the clerk of the Senate, Adedotun Durojaye, who passed on Friday, November 6. The motion for adjournment was moved by Deputy Senate President Ike Kuremadu. Lawmakers, including the Senate President Bukola Saraki, who spoke after the news was brought to the attention of the Senate by the leader, Ali Undume, described it as his clerk as industrious, responsible and selfless.
It is with heavy heart and deep sorrow I inform you about the passing on to glory of our able and dependable acting clerk of the Senate, Mr. Adedotun Olusola Durojaye. Maybe most of you did not notice, Mr. Durojaye was sitting where the new clerk is sitting now. And as you must have observed, distinguished colleague, Mr. Duro went through protracted illness, being strong enough to come for his duties up to the last moment.
We've lost a very committed staff, somebody who has been part and parcel of our story. And this is the first time we're having a situation where a clerk of Senate is dying in active service. It's been our tradition, sir, that when a senator dies, we cease from sitting on the next date after, next sitting day after we receive the news of his death. And now that this is happening for the first time, I would like to appeal to this Senate that after paying our respect to him today, by way of a 1 minute silence, that this Senate do adjourn in due respect to him and to the active service that he died for, and for all that he stood for as acting clerk of this Senate.
Mr. Durojaye Dotun, I was only well known, as we all who had had the experience to work with him, seeing somebody who's very calm, responsible, and very hardworking. As our colleagues have all said, how he was right up to the point of his illness, he was still coming to work and doing his best. It's a great loss, as I said, not only for the National Assembly, to our country. We all miss him dearly, and we all pray that the Almighty God will grant his soul in eternal rest and fortitude for his family to bear that loss. At this point, I'll put the question to those in favor of prayer one, that we have observed 1 minute silence in honor of Mr. Durojaye Dotun. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And the second prayer is that we are adjourned in honor, adjournment of the Senate today in honor of Mr. Durojaye again. Those in favor of that say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We observe 1 minute's silence. May your soul rest in perfect peace. Amen.
We'll be back with more stories right after the break. Stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
They talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome. If you're just joining us, it's CoreTV News on the Hour. For more of our news and information, visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News, our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. You could get more on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space and news. Some aggrieved members of the House of Representatives under the All Progressive Congress are demanding the dissolution of committees in the lower chamber. The group of 25 representatives led by the member representing Goronyo Gada Federal Constituency in Sokoto State, Musa Sakin Ada, said they have lost confidence in Speaker Yakubu Dogara, who they insist is not a true party man. They also described the elaborate inauguration of the committee leadership as a propaganda. The lawmakers spoke at the APC National Secretariat in Abuja. The CIA reports.
What is clear from the inauguration of the House committees is that the leadership crisis is far from over. House leader Femi Gbajabiamila and some of his perceived loyalists were absent, but the event went ahead unhindered. Despite talks about some opposition members getting juicier committees, a member of the selection committee, Abubakar Kanike, says the process went well.
I would say that we tried as much as possible to put the square pegs in square holes and the round pegs in the round holes, because members had an opportunity to come up with a summary of their experiences and qualifications and competences. And that is, and they were even given the opportunity to list committees where they would want to serve, where they felt they could add value. And most of these members were actually designated to serve in those committees.
It is on record that Honorable Dogara has consistently taken the APC for granted on past occasions, including the following: showed contempt for APC's leadership by spearheading a boycott when the former attempted to offer guidelines to House members before the election that threw him up as Speaker with slim majority. Upon his emergence as Speaker, Honorable Dogara insisted on foisting his misguided and arrogant imposition of so-called federal character in the body of principal officers of the House, so as to frustrate the early stabilization plan of the House as proposed by our great party, the APC. Since climbing to the seat, Dogara has refused to belong properly to the APC House caucus, frustrating meetings and instead remonstrating openly with PDP legislators, including holding clandestine meetings to plot the downfall of our party. In furtherance of this trickery, he has severally frustrated efforts by patriotic members who wanted to table salutary motions aimed at commending and encouraging Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari's anti-corruption measures so far taken. In the same vein, the Speaker has continued to suppress critical and dissenting voices from contributing in debates at plenary sessions, while shamelessly promoting the dominance of activities of the House by hostile opposition elements, the PDP.
Concerning whether or it's not going on or not, it's normal. We hope to see that at the end of sharing, people are dissatisfied. You know, since it is a thing that occurs from time to time, I think we should develop, measures to address such concerns.
The committees are expected to hit the ground running, but there are suggestions that areas of interest may not have been taken into consideration.
Almost every House of Rep member belongs to a minimum of about 5 committees, and they have an opportunity to add value and oversight executive activities through these committees. Having the privilege of being chosen as Deputy Chair is just added responsibility, just like the Speaker himself and the Deputy Speaker and the principal officers of the House. It's just first among equals to coordinate the activities. It doesn't undermine the primary purpose of representation.
In line with cutting down costs, the number of committees climbing from 87 to 97 also raises eyebrows in spite of Speaker Yakubu Dogara's position.
The Speaker did not say that we are not going to spend money. What he said was that extra committee does not necessarily amount to extra budgetary affair. The amount of money you spend on 10 committees cannot be the same you spend on 11 committees. That is true.
The House now has the full complement of functions with the committee leadership in place with inauguration. What Nigerians anticipate now is for them to make relevant laws that will be of immense benefit to the populace. Jamil Afegbua, CoreTV News, Abuja.
While the issue of the House of Reps standing committees continue to generate controversy, the issue also has created a sharp division within the ranks of members of the House of Reps. Jamil Afegbua has more in this report.
What is clear from the inauguration of the House committees is that the leadership crisis is far from over. House leader Femi Gbajabiamila and some of his perceived loyalists were absent, but the event went ahead unhindered. Despite talks about some opposition members getting juicier committees, a member of the selection committee, Abubakar Kanike, says the process went well.
I would say that we tried as much as possible to put the square pegs in square holes and the round pegs in the round holes, because members had an opportunity to come up with a summary of their experiences and qualifications and competences. And that is, and they were even given the opportunity to list committees where they would want to serve, where they felt they could add value. And most of these members were actually designated to serve in those committees.
It is on record that Honorable Yakubu Dogara has consistently taken the APC for granted on past occasions, including the following: showed contempt for APC's leadership by spearheading a boycott when the former attempted to offer guidelines to House members before the election that threw him up as Speaker with slim majority. Upon his emergence as Speaker, Honorable Dogara insisted on foisting his misguided and arrogant imposition of so-called federal character in the body of principal officers of the House, so as to frustrate the early stabilization plan of the House as proposed by our great party, the APC. Since climbing to the seat, Dogara has refused to belong properly to the APC House caucus, frustrating meetings and instead remonstrating openly with PDP legislators, including holding clandestine meetings to plot the downfall of our party. In furtherance of this trickery, he has severally frustrated efforts by patriotic members who wanted to table salutary motions aimed at commending and encouraging Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari's anti-corruption measures so far taken. In the same vein, the Speaker has continued to suppress critical and dissenting voices from contributing in debates at plenary sessions, while shamelessly promoting the dominance of activities of the House by hostile opposition elements, the PDP.
The committees are expected to hit the ground running, but there are suggestions that areas of interest may not have been taken into consideration.
Almost every House of Rep member belongs to a minimum of about 5 committees, and they have an opportunity to add value and oversight executive activities to these committees. Having the privilege of being chosen as a chairman or deputy chair is just added responsibility, just like the Speaker himself and the Deputy Speaker and the principal officers of the House. It's just first among equals to coordinate the activities. It doesn't undermine the primary purpose of representation.
In line with cutting down costs, the number of committees climbing from 87 to 97 also raises eyebrows in spite of Speaker Yakubu Dogara's position.
The Speaker did not say that we are not going to spend money. What he said was that extra committee does not necessarily amount to extra budgetary, affair. The amount of money you spend on 10 committees cannot be the same you spend on 11 committees. That is true.
The House now has the full complement of functions with the committee leadership in place with inauguration. What Nigerians anticipate now is for them to make relevant laws that will be of immense benefit to the populace. Jamil Afegbua, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Former Benue State Governor Gabriel Suswam has been formally docked with corruption charges before a federal high court in Abuja, but was granted bail in the sum of 100 million naira with one surety. Suswam was docked alongside his former finance commissioner Omodachi Okolobia, and a 9-count charge of money laundering preferred against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. They both pleaded not guilty to all the charges. The trial judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, ordered them to remain in EFCC custody pending when they fulfill the bail condition. Judiciary correspondent Basil Okafor has more on this report presented from our studios.
After days of interrogation, the EFCC on Tuesday finally arraigned former Governor Suswam and his former finance commissioner for money laundering. The accused persons are alleged to have diverted proceeds from the sale of shares owned by Benue State Government and Benue Investment Property Company Limited. The alleged diverted money is 3.1 billion naira according to the charge sheet. When the charges were read to the former governor and the co-accused, they both pleaded not guilty. Their counsel, Ahmed Raji, thereafter applied for bail, which the prosecution counsel Rotimi Jacobs did not object to.
The complaint, the charge was read over to the two of them, and they pleaded not guilty, thereby putting the onus on the prosecution to call his witnesses and then present his case. So that has been done, is adjourned now for trial. Meanwhile, he was released on bail because he was granted administrative bail, which he never jumped, and also after the charge was served on him, he was also similarly granted bail. So it will not be proper for me to come and contest bail when he has been released twice on bail. So that's why the courts granted him bail.
Charges, and he pleaded not guilty. We applied for his bail, which was not opposed, and graciously his lordship granted him bail on conditions. So we are trying to perfect the conditions of the bail.
Are these conditions friendly?
They are okay. The conditions are okay. And by the grace, the whole essence of a bail or condition is to ensure that the defendant attends the court, and he hasn't an history of abstaining from proceedings or running away from the country. So we were able to convince the court that it's not somebody who will jump bail.
And in granting the request, the trial judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, granted the accused bail in the sum of 100 million naira each. He ordered them to produce one surety each that must be of grade level 12 in any federal or state government agency. Justice Mohammed equally ordered the accused persons to surrender their travel documents to the court and be remanded in EFCC custody until conditions are met. The matter has been adjourned till December 8th and 9th for trial.
And it's a wrap on CoreTV News at this hour. Thank you so very much for joining us. My name is Omotayo Ado. Bye for now.